Okay, and then throughout this presentation, I'm going to have the chat closed just so I can see the full screen, just so you know. But Jenna will be monitoring the chat. So if you are just joining us today and didn't attend our session last week, this is our Back to School Legal Research 101 course that we're offering for the first time, and we're very excited to be doing a program like this. So just as a brief recap, if you missed our previous session, there's no worries. It was just a general introduction into the course and who we are at the Riverside County Law Library. But we can send you the recording and the presentation from that session if you're interested. You can just type your email into the chat and privately to one of us, and we can send that your way immediately. And then this will also be available after the class as well. So just a brief introduction again. So my name is Andrea Valencia. I'm the the reference and instruction librarian here at the Riverside County Law Library. I go by Andy, like Toy Story. And my counterpart is Jenna, and she can say hi if she wants to right now.
Yes, hello, my name is Jenna Pontius, and I'm the Public Services Librarian at the Riverside County Law Library, and I will be monitoring the chat and leading next week's session.
So just a brief overview of this course schedule. So last week we had an introduction into who we are at the library and what the course will cover. Today, September 8th, we're going to be going over what is the California Supreme Court and the court system. Next week, so on September 15th, Jenna will be leading our media literacy session. On September 22nd, we will be beginning our two-part legal research course or session. The first one we'll be discussing different types of legal research tips and tricks, and other information such as primary versus secondary authority. And then our final session will be a live demo of answering reference question that you can send us if you would like us to live demo your reference question. You can just email us and we'll have our emails previously and at the end typed into the chat, so you can email us and we can live demo your reference question for the course. So the purpose of today's session is we're going to be going over the different levels in the California court system. So there are basically three levels. There is the county court, which is each county in the state of California has their own Superior Court, trial court, in which criminal and civil trials take place. The next level is the Court of Appeals, where these courts review cases from the superior courts if one of the parties want to protest the decision. And then ultimately we have the California Supreme Court. This is the top court within the state, which consists of 7 judges called justices. And this court has the final decision on cases that have been appealed from lower courts. So the first court that we're going to be looking into is the county court. So we're going to start at the bottom and make our way to the top. So what is the California Superior Court? A superior court is a trial court, essentially, in which a judge or a jury decides cases by applying law to facts presented by witnesses' testimony and other evidence. So superior courts are different from appellate courts, where people who are not satisfied with their trial court's decisions appeal their cases. So this is the first step prior to an appeal. So superior courts generally handle all criminal cases, which include felonies, misdemeanors, and infractions such as traffic tickets. All civil cases such as family law, probate, juvenile, and other civil cases. They do handle appeals of small claims cases and other civil cases worth $25,000 or less. And they handle appeals of misdemeanor cases. So the jurisdiction and authority of superior courts is as follows. Superior courts have trial jurisdiction over criminal and civil cases. Special departments of the courts handle family, probate, mental health, juvenile, small claims, and traffic cases. So there are a few steps in a civil case that would be proceeding as follows. So it usually starts out with a new case being filed and the summons issued. It then moves on to those summons being served to the opposing party. An answer or a response is filed to the court, and then the case has begun its review. There's a period of discovery where evidence is presented, and then there is an option for alternative dispute resolution. So that usually includes mediation or something along those lines. And ultimately it ends with either a settlement or a trial/judgment. The steps in a criminal case in the Superior Court are as follows. So it begins with an arrest, which leads to an arraignment, preliminary hearing, which for felony cases. If a guilty plea is entered, then the case goes directly to sentencing. If not, then there's pretrial motions, trial, a verdict, and then ultimately sentencing. So I know that we just mentioned a few different key terms, such as felony, that I wanted to briefly provide you with a definition of. So to start with, a felony is a criminal offense punishable by incarceration in state prison for more than a year or by death. Misdemeanor, a misdemeanor is a lesser offense than a felony. It is punishable by a fine or incarceration for less than a year in city or county jail rather than in a state. And then lastly, an infraction. Infractions are not punishable by jail or prison time. The punishment is usually a fine. Because the penalty is an infraction state case is a fine, the trial is decided by a judge, not a jury. There are more common infractions that include traffic matters such as speeding and running a red light or a stop sign. And the total fine for an infraction could be as much as $200 or more. So this is found in the California Penal Code 17A. So our local Superior Court is the Riverside Superior Court. One of the most historic buildings in Riverside. It is the historic courthouse that's located downtown here in downtown Riverside. And in this court, they specifically focus on evictions, civil and probate cases. The Riverside Superior Court has a total of 15 courthouses spread over 7,300 square miles in 3 regions to serve Riverside County's 2.4 million plus residents. So as you can see, Riverside County is fairly large. It extends all the way over here in Corona to all the way over here to Blythe. So it is a large area to encompass. This is their website. It's www.riversidecourts.ca.gov. So on this website, you can have access to their self-help information on where to file, and also they're implementing e-filing soon. So something to know about Riverside County is that Riverside County has experienced a 56% increase in population since the year 2000. So that was just 21 years ago. Between 1989, when we had just over 1 million residents, and 2020, now that we have over 2.4 million residents, while the number of judicial positions has increased only 46% since 1989, meaning that we don't have enough judges to keep up with our increasing population and caseload. So in the fiscal year of 2019-2020, we had about 274,356 filings of all types, including 11,302 felonies, 33,126 misdemeanors, 48,089 civil, 24,881 family law and juvenile, 3,072 probate, 778 mental health, 197 appellate, 502 criminal habeas corpus, and 152,409 infractions. So I mentioned earlier that we are in need of judges, obviously from our caseload that we just discussed. So how do you become a judge? The Superior Court judges have, Superior Courts have 1,754 authorized judges and hundreds in terms of full-time equivalents of authorized commissioners and referees. The California legislature determines the number of judges in each court. The Superior Court judges serve 6-year terms and are elected by county voters on a nonpartisan ballot at a general election. Vacancies are filled through appointment by the governor. A Superior Court judge must have been an attorney admitted to practice law in California or have served as a judge of a court of recent record of the state for at least 10 years immediately preceding election or reappointment. So our most recent appointment was Judge Mark Singerton. So this is an excerpt of the news releases from the court's website. So on July 9th, 2021, which was just last month, no, 2 months ago, it's already September, Governor Gavin Newsom announced the appointment of Mark E. Singerton to a vacant judgeship in the Superior Court of California, County of Riverside. Mark E. Singerton, 46 of Yorba Linda, has been appointed to serve as a judge in the Riverside County Superior Court. Mr. Singerton has served as a managing supervising deputy district attorney at the Riverside County District Attorney's Office since 2008, where he served as a deputy district attorney since 2001. Mr. Singerton earned a Juris Doctorate degree from La Jolla Law School in Los Angeles, and he fills the vacancy of a new position created on September 24th, 2019. So it's a very recent appointment, so we're very excited to have this new judge. So next, we're going to be going on to the next stage of the court system, which is the California Appellate Court. So people who are not satisfied with a trial court decision can take their case to an appellate court. When they appeal, they're basically asking for a higher level court to change what the trial court had decided. So something important to know is that the role of the Court of Appeals is not to give new trials, but to review the Superior Court record to decide if legal errors were made. So to do this, the Court of Appeals may hear arguments from each side. Each side gets a chance to make a presentation and to answer the judge's questions. The oral arguments are open to the public, but there are no juries or witnesses. The Court of Appeal cannot review death penalty cases. So the jurisdiction and authority of the Court of Appeals. So the Court of Appeals have appellate jurisdiction when superior courts have original jurisdiction, and in certain other cases prescribed by statute. So like the Supreme Court, they have original jurisdiction on habeas corpus, mandamus, I can never pronounce this word, certiorari, excuse me, I'm sorry, and prohibition proceedings. So the steps in the appeal process are as follows. So the Superior Court makes its decision in the lower level court, and the losing party may file a notice of appeal with the Superior Court. Following that, the Superior Court clerk notifies other parties in the Court of Appeal, and the court record is submitted to the Court of Appeal. Both appellant and respondent submit written briefs presenting their legal arguments, and the case is placed on the calendar and assigned to a panel of 3 court appellate judges. A panel of judges reviews the Superior Court record, written briefs, and applicable law and precedent. Oral argument is held unless waived by the litigants, and concurrence of 2 or 3 judges is necessary to form a majority. So 2 out of 3 judges must agree. An opinion is written and filed, and then that is ultimately the end of the case. You can either go for a petition for a rehearing, so the losing party may ask the Court of Appeal to rehear, or a petition for review. The losing party may file a petition for review with the California Supreme Court, which only grants review to 4 or 5% of cases each year. So that was the Court of Appeals. So to become a court appellate judge, in each of the Court of Appeal, a panel of 3 judges decides appeals from superior courts. The courts of appeal can agree with the decision of the trial court, agree in part, disagree in part, or disagree and reverse the trial judge's decision. The court's decisions are called opinions, and these opinions are public and posted on the Supreme Court's website and published in the California Appellate reports if those opinions meet certain criteria for publication. So that criteria usually includes if the opinion published establishes a new rule of law, if it involves a legal issue of continuing public interest, if it criticizes existing law, or if it makes significant contribution to legal literature. So there are several different appellate districts within the state of California. So Riverside County, our current county, resides in the 4th district, and specifically we are in the 4th District of Appeal Division 2. So Division 2 is located in Riverside and has jurisdiction over matters from Inyo, Riverside, San Bernardino counties. And in 1999, Division 2 moved from San Bernardino to its present location in Riverside, California. The courthouse in Riverside is the first standalone building for an appellate court in California. So the 4th district is unique in that is divided into 3 geographical divisions. So as I mentioned before, we are Division 2. Division 1 is located in San Diego and has jurisdiction over matters from Imperial and San Diego counties. Division 2 is located in Riverside and has jurisdiction over matters from Inyo, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. And Division 3 is located in Santa Ana and has jurisdiction over matters from Orange County. So let's meet the justices of the appellate court. So the 4th district, again, has 3 different districts. So this is Division 1, which oversees San Diego. This is Division 2, our district, which oversees matters from Inyo, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. And then this is Division 3, which has jurisdiction over matters in Orange County. So how appellate and Supreme Court justices are selected. So the office of appellate or Supreme Court justice is nonpartisan, and to be eligible to serve in either position, a person must have practiced law for at least 10 years. Before a person can become an appellate or superior or Supreme Court justice, the governor must submit the person's name to the California State Bar Commission on judicial nominees evaluation, which is comprised of public members and lawyers who reflect the ethnic, sexual, and racial diversity of the population, and must include persons of a variety of backgrounds, abilities, interests, and opinions. With community input, the commission conducts a thorough review of the candidate's background, qualifications, and forwards an evaluation to the governor. And from there, there's a few more steps in the process, but this is ultimately how it starts. All right, so the last step we're going to do is all the way up to the Supreme Court. So what is the California Supreme Court? The Supreme Court of California consists of the Chief Justice of California and 6 associate justices, each appointed or nominated by the Governor of California. The Supreme Court of California is the state's highest court. Its decisions are binding on all other California state courts. So jurisdiction and authority. The Supreme Court is the state's highest court. It can review cases decided by the courts of appeal, and also certain kinds of cases go directly to the Supreme Court and are not heard by the Court of Appeal. So there's two types that skip over the Court of Appeal, and those would be death penalty cases and disciplinary cases involving judges or lawyers. There are 7 justices on the Supreme Court, and at least 4 must agree on the final decision to achieve majority. All other state courts in California must follow a decision made in the Supreme Court, and the decisions of the Supreme Court are published in the California Official Reports, which can be found on the California Court's website. So how does one become a Supreme Court justice? Once one Chief Justice and 6 Associate Justices are appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Commission on Judicial Appointments. The appointments are confirmed by the public at the next general election. Justices also come before voters at the end of their 12-year terms. To be considered for appointment, a person must be an attorney admitted to practice law in California or have served as a judge of a court of record in the state for 10 years immediately preceding an appointment. So this is the most recent picture of our justices. However, one has recently retired, and we have recently gotten a new justice since then. But from left to right standing, we have Justice Leandra Kruger, Justice Goodwin Liu, Justice Mariano Florentino Cuellar, and Justice Joshua Groban. And then sitting down, we have Justice Min Chin, which retired last August in 2020. We have Chief Justice Tani Kantil-Sakayui and Justice Carol Corrigan. So our Chief Justice is Chief Justice Tani Gori Kantil-Sakayuki. She is the 28th Chief Justice of the state of California, and she was sworn into office on January 3rd, 2011. And she is the first Asian Filipino American and second woman to serve as the state's Chief Justice. Our most recent appointment was Justice Martin Jenkins, was confirmed as an Associate Justice of the California Supreme Court on November 10th, 2020, following his appointment by Governor Gavin Newsom. So this is the tweet that California courts tweeted out. So Justice Martin J. Jenkins has been unanimously confirmed to the California Supreme Court after more than 30 years of service as a state and federal judge. Judge Jenkins makes history as the first openly gay justice and the 3rd African-American man to serve on the state high court. So these are all of the sources and links that I used for today's presentation. And we're still going to be here to, have a discussion or answer any questions. But our class will continue next week on September 15th, where Jenna will be discussing media literacy. As I mentioned before, if you wanted to submit your question for our legal reference live demo that we're going to be having in a few weeks, you can email it to myself, or you can email it to the law library email. So our general email for the law library that everyone sees is lawlibrary.riverside@arclawlibrary.org. And then also type my email in the chat as well if you wanted to email me directly.
Andy, there were no questions in the chat during your presentation.
Okay. So yes, the presentations will be available for you to have later on. We're going to send out the presentation recording, and we're also going to send out the presentation itself, like in a PDF form. You're welcome. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording just so everyone knows.